Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. This episode, we got a few things going on in the world of wrestling ahead of the Payback pay-per-view taking place tonight, and we want to get those things out to you as soon as possible. So today's news kicks off with Charlotte making history. It was announced earlier in the week that Charlotte is now in a very lucrative position, being the first female competitor in World Wrestling Entertainment to main event SmackDown. Female talent versus Naomi in that women's championship match, main eventing a Raw show with Sasha Banks early last year, and main eventing a pay-per-view also against Sasha Banks, and which also included being the first person to be inside Hell in a Cell. First Iron Woman match. She's the first one to hold the Divas, the Raws, and the NXT Women's Championship. Could the SmackDown Women's title be in her future? I would anticipate at some point. But what this should tell you is the confidence that WWE has in Charlotte and her character. She's an amazing talent. She is very athletic, and the people within WWE clearly appreciate and acknowledge what she brings to the table. Whether it's as a heel or a babyface, whether it's against a big opponent, a small opponent, she's able to put on a great show with just about anybody, which is somewhat impressive when you think about the fact that Charlotte was not originally designed or hadn't originally intended to be a professional wrestler at all. She was into bodybuilding. She was approached right around when her father was retiring about becoming a wrestler, and she has parlayed that conversation with Triple H and some of the WWE people into an amazing career, and it's a great thing to see. I know people give her a hard time because she held the championship so many times in such a short period of time already, but the reality is they are building around her as the focal point of the women's revolution, and I honestly believe she is the best female talent in the world right now, and I think WWE needs to capitalize on that. I feel like this most recent situation on SmackDown is pushing her towards a babyface turn. I'm okay with that. She's been a heel for quite a while now. It would be nice to kind of freshen up her character to see her as a babyface for a little bit. And then eventually she'll have to go back to being a heel, just like her father. You know, you got to flip them every now and again just to keep things fresh. Moving on from Charlotte, we got Adam Cole. He's been very interesting in the news lately because his contract is coming due with Ring of Honor, and he's not entirely sure what he's going to do. There has been speculation about him going to New Japan, going to TNA, or Impact Wrestling. There's been conversation about him going to WWE and NXT, and he has made it clear that when his contract is up, he's still not sure what he's going to do, but it's the first time in several years that he's got options, and he's going to look at all of his options when he's done, look at everything inside and outside of Ring of Honor, and make the best decision for he and his career. Interestingly, though, he did make a comment earlier this week about if he were to go to a WWE branded contract in his next deal, he would want to start in NXT before going to the main roster. He felt that NXT provided him with great matches, great talent, the ability to really showcase the kind of performance that he typically puts on, and it will give him experience in front of the camera in WWE's style and presentation that they like to bring their fans. So I think this could only be a good thing for Adam Cole to go ahead and go to the NXT roster should he decide to go to WWE. I actually think he has a lot more he could accomplish in New Japan, and I know New Japan Pro Wrestling is really in a talent acquisition and talent retention mode right now after last year losing Nakamura and AJ Styles, but what we need to do is keep our eyes on this because Adam Cole would be a fantastic addition to the NXT roster, and it's something I think it's not as a matter of if, but when that happens. It's Payback Day. Tonight is WWE Payback, Raw's show. I'll be honest with you, it's not something that I'm overwhelmingly wowed with. I'm not expecting a lot of big things out of the show. The kickoff show has Enzo and Cass taking on Gallows and Anderson. If I was picking a winner here, I'm going Enzo and Cass. Not because I think they should win this match. I actually think Gallows and Anderson should win the match, but because Enzo and Cass have not won any significant matches on pay-per-view of any kind anytime in the last several months. They need to have something to maintain any semblance of validity on the card. So you have to give them a win somewhere. I think this is where you'll see it. The main card of the night is going to see the Raw Tag Team Championship defended by the Hardy Boys going against Sheamus and Cesaro. If I was picking a winner here, if you look at Raw the last 2 weeks, both individuals of the Hardys have defeated both members of Sheamus and Cesaro. That typically means that Sheamus and Cesaro are planned to be the winners in the pay-per-view. Now, the betting odds is against that. The betting odds see the Hardy Boys winning this match. I do not believe so. I think that the Hardys they're on a collision course with splitting up. WWE wants them to go separate ways. There's been a lot of conversation this week about the broken character coming to WWE for Matt Hardy. Should that happen, I don't think they're going to go broken Matt and brother Nero. I think they're going to go broken Matt and have Jeff Hardy maintain the charismatic enigma character that he's so famous for and go their separate ways, potentially even on separate brands. There's rumor of another brand split towards SummerSlam season. So I think in this situation, I actually would not be opposed to Sheamus and Cesaro taking the titles. The betting odds say that the Hardy Boys retain tonight. I'm saying Sheamus and Cesaro. Cruiserweight Championship, Neville taking on Austin Aries. This match almost doesn't make sense to me when you had Neville win at WrestleMania. Had Neville lost at WrestleMania, even in a schmaz ending where Aries picks up the win but not the title, would have made more sense than what we have here. Neville beat Austin Aries clean at WrestleMania. That typically means you've got your shot, you're done. But then he earns another shot at the championship, which I don't understand. It holds somebody else down unless you're going to give him the title. Again, the betting odds makers say that Neville is slated to win this match. I'm having a tough time with the logic behind that, unless you're just burying Austin Aries' character altogether. I don't like that. Maybe they saw something in his broadcast ability, maybe with the exit of Mauro Ranallo, who, by the way, is rumored to be coming back to WWE potentially. There's negotiation about that, or conversation about that, but I can't see why you would bury his character so hard against Neville if you have big plans for him in the future, unless you're going to transition him into something else. For the Raw Women's Championship, Bayley takes on Alexa Bliss. Bayley is the heavy favorite to keep the championship here. I actually hope that happens for a very strange reason. I think if Alexa Bliss wins here, it prevents Charlotte from having any chance at the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I would prefer to see Charlotte win that than Bliss win the Raw Championship. And if you have Bliss win here and Charlotte win there, it makes it look like it's strange. It's a really weird comparison between the two brands then. You know, they both took their best woman, flip places, and there really was no gain or loss on either side. I think you can't do that. I think you need to have Bayley retain here, especially if you want to put a championship on Charlotte in the near future. So my prediction is Bayley's going to retain. In the Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe match, this match, the odds makers say Seth Rollins is walking out the winner. I have a problem with that as well. I think Samoa Joe has not had a significant win since his arrival on Raw. I'm talking about at a pay-per-view. He wasn't even on the WrestleMania card. If I was booking this, Samoa Joe would go over here. Not because I don't think Seth Rollins could really use the win, but because he just beat Triple H. Samoa Joe is the new talent on the brand. You gotta solidify Samoa Joe more than you have and give him more exposure. But the odds makers are saying Seth Rollins, and the way they book in WWE anymore, I actually somewhat agree with the booking. Not that I would make that decision, but I believe that feeling about their booking. So I believe Seth Rollins is going to win this match over Samoa Joe. In the House of Horrors match, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, which, just for the record, is not for the WWE Championship. At least from what I can see on WWE's website and from all the media sites around the wrestling world, no one seems to think this is a championship match anymore, which is very strange since Bray Wyatt lost the championship. He never got a rematch. Now he's on a different brand, and he's still going to go against the champion. This is very strange. I think Bray Wyatt goes over in this match big. I think he absolutely buries Randy Orton in this match, and if he doesn't, it's a fallacy of the booking. I'm expecting this to be a lot like some kind of pre-tape segment where they're in some kind of this crazy house, fun house kind of thing. I don't even think they're going to make it to the arena. If they make it to the arena, that's a plus. Because I actually hate the idea of a pre-tape segment. I think that's terrible. It's great for them because they can do things and shoot things over and over and over again until they get it exactly right. But for the fans in the arena who paid admission to see a match, I always prefer that they find a way to get in the ring and have their match. Going back to the U.S. Championship, Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, highly controversial this week as the betting odds have swayed heavily in the last 24 hours. Chris Jericho is now a minus 1,200 favorite to defeat Kevin Owens for the U.S. Championship. I don't know why they would do that with him leaving the company, but I would love if they did that just because it almost guarantees you another championship change on Raw, and you have an opportunity, or on SmackDown, and you have a chance to catapult somebody else into the stratosphere. That or Chris Jericho wins in some shady fashion. It does not allow him to keep the championship, and then he could exit Raw and there's no further storyline necessary. I really hope at some point at the end of the summer he comes back, because he really has been the focus of the brand for the better part of a year now, and he's probably their number one character on television. It's really a shame he's leaving, but he does have other passions and interests, including the band Fozzy. More power to him. I'm a huge Jericho fan. He is probably one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers ever, so it'll be great to see him one last time in a high-profile match. And the main event of the show, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Here's the thing. Roman Reigns is the hand-picked chosen one who's going to go against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania next year. At least that's the plan right now. Braun Strowman is the bad guy, sounds like a good guy, big buff guy who can't be stopped by any guy, and now he's put this guy into an ambulance and everything else. I think you have to give the win here to Braun Strowman. You've got a golden goose that's going to keep laying eggs if you keep pushing Braun Strowman. The fans love him and they hate him all at the same time. That's a unique situation to be in. I am pulling and betting on the loss here for Roman Reigns and the win for Braun Strowman. We're going to give you the final 8 matches in this round of our 128 fantasy booking tournament. So if you're still tuned in, here are your matches. Please put your winners in the comment section on YouTube so that I can tabulate those and move your winners on to the next round. We got some great matches to round out this round. We've got first match, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kurt Angle. We've got Jeff Hardy versus Jay Lethal. We've got Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. We've got Batista versus Vader. Harley Race versus Jerry the King Lawler. The Great Muta versus Dolph Ziggler. Mick Foley versus Yokozuna. And the final match in this round, one that I actually never thought about till you guys picked this matchup and I think is awesome. Sheamus versus Hulk Hogan. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next time. We'll go down all the latest news and rumors, run down the Payback card and the results, and we'll go over everything with you guys. Try to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world of wrestling. Special thanks as always out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing all our music and sound effects used in today's show. Today's podcast was sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this new game from Beazle Games by going to www.thegamecrafter.com/sketchypeople to pick up your copy today. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today, and if you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, go to www.tsjsports.com/WWE for the latest articles on the world of professional wrestling. Until next time, take care, everybody.